I have a lot in common with you at this moment, the fact that you're in a conference. When I created this app, I was frustrated with what was being done, and I figured things could be done a lot better than they used to be. Right? Because we're all here to do something significant, to become significant, to either to become significant for our brand, or to become significant ourselves as professionals, or as a help to our organization. But there's an issue. There's a lot of information. You go on YouTube, there's a lot of books, you hear a lot of speakers, and you hear a lot of different things that are contradictory to each other at times. Right? There's information that you follow, and then all of a sudden you hear another person talk about something else that completely says almost the opposite. Okay? So I'm going to try to help you think in a different way, which is the way I was thinking when I created this app. Okay? Engagement rates. Okay? I'll show you something we all do now. We pull out our phones anytime things are silent. We start scrolling, and we hit like, scroll, like, scroll, like, scroll, like. Oh, she's back to the table. I'll put my phone away now. Right? And if I ask you 5 minutes later what you liked, you don't remember. But we're told to measure engagement rates. How much value do they have? I've used my poor mother. Thankfully, no one has told her yet. She's 70 years old. She's also doing what I call the zombie scroll. Right? It's not something just for young people. It's everyone's doing it. If you walk by a retirement home, you'll see them doing exactly the same thing. So when we measure likes, what do they mean if they mean nothing to the people? We hear that you need cheap awareness. Get as much awareness as possible for the cheapest price possible, because that's how you're going to grow. Okay? How many ads have you ever seen for Starbucks? Almost none, right? Do you need cheap awareness? No, that's another myth. How about you need a big idea, really creative, and storytelling? What was the creative idea at Zada? Do you guys remember a single campaign from Zada that sticks out in your mind, super memorable? No. Right? If you think about storytelling, I believe that it's not about storytelling, because that's telling stories is what brands have done for a long time to manipulate the way we feel about a brand. Right? And our bullshit filter is a lot stronger than it used to be. We know when brands are bullshitting us. Right? When you look at Casa Fuzita, which was the announcer just here, she became the story. That brand became the story. Zada became a story. They didn't tell stories. They didn't feed us a bunch of stuff so we feel some way emotionally about the brand. They didn't do that. They became the story. So don't tell stories, become the story. Start with why. Another really famous presentation that talks about brand purpose and how you need to start with why you exist, not what you do. None of us go to Starbucks thinking, I want to help build a community, so let me go buy coffee. Right? We don't do that. We start with what? The famous example he used was Apple. When Steve Jobs entered back into Apple in '97, he said, we're not going to focus on the fact that we make computers. We're going to focus on the fact that we make machines that can change the world. He said that in '97. The stock didn't move for another 10 years. So is it because of brand purpose that it moves? No, the facts don't show that that's true. See, I believe our comfort zone is killing us. We're trying to adopt things from the past into the future. We're trying to light light bulbs with a match. Okay? It doesn't work. The way we need to think is the way we actually think. Look at us. Look at what we like. One of the other announcers talked about do what people want or do what people like. I believe the same thing. You need to look at what people actually do and figure out what's the right course of action. And we have a lot more in common than you think. If I was to ask all of you, what would you do if you won the lottery, the Euro Millions? And this is probably a question many of you have thought of. And the funny thing is, you think you have a really unique answer, but we all answer exactly the same thing. We all say, go celebrate with friends and family. We're going to buy cars, homes, and travel. We're going to take care of our loved ones, invest so they never need to work again, and eventually help out a cause or some people. Do we think of anything else for the first 30 minutes? No. There are other things. It takes a lot more rationalizing. But we're programmed to want these things. That's why we all say the same answer. Because we're always looking for benefits. We're always looking for a functional benefit, an emotional benefit, or social benefit. How do I fill a goal? How do I feel good? And how do I make other people feel good? That's what we live for. Why? Because just like a dog gets doggy treats to teach him how to sit, we get neurotransmitters that tell us, good job. Right? When we're hungry, we get food, we get dopamine. When I'm looking for attention and I keep going back to Instagram to see how many more hearts I have, I get dopamine. If I'm in a bad mood and my friend makes me feel good to get up the next morning and conquer the day, I get serotonin. If I help an old man cross the road, I get oxytocin because I feel like part of a good community. If I see any of you help the old man cross the road, I get the same amount of oxytocin because I feel like I'm part of a good community. See, we get these chemicals from our brain telling us this is what we need to do. All of you are here because you're looking for a benefit. You're looking to take something from this presentation, mine or the other speakers, that you can use for yourself. You're looking for a benefit. We're always looking for benefits. There's nothing more human than looking for benefits. And that's why I think business needs to connect to what people want. Okay? And that's what I started to try to do when I created this framework. I started saying, what's important to business? There's only three things that are important to business: sales, market share, and profit. Besides that, it's not a business, then it's a hobby. Right? If I want sales, market share, or profit, if I want to fill a sale, I just need to fill a need or a want. If I want to increase market share, I just need more people to love my brand. Because if more people love my brand, they'll come back more often and my market share grows. If I want to increase profit, and when I mean profit, I mean profit per sale. Right? For example, if there's t-shirts that help save elephants, that's an added value. Right? So I can charge more for the t-shirt that saves elephants than a normal t-shirt. So you increase your profit. What are the benefits? The sale is a functional benefit to fulfill a need. The emotional is when you increase love, you feel an emotional benefit. If you add value to society, like saving elephants, you add a social benefit. What's the outcome? You buy more often, or you reduce your price sensitivity because it's a lot more than just a product. It's more than a t-shirt because it helps save the elephants. And here's probably the biggest change in marketing. Marketing for a long time worked extremely well when it was a factory. It created a product. That product was pushed out to the world and tried to reach as many people as possible. And that worked incredibly well for a really, really long time. It doesn't work so much anymore. And today, I don't think it's any longer about being memorable like it used to be. And you had to be memorable because you only are on TV 2 times a year. You couldn't afford to always be in the newspaper. Today, we talk to people 2 times a week, if we want to, through social media or through other platforms. So it's no longer about being memorable because I'm always at your door. We need to build momentum, right? How do you create a religion? How do you create a movement? How do you create a brand today? You start by, okay, what is the product I'm trying to make? Okay, what am I selling to people? What's the functional benefit? Okay, why is it good for some people? Why is it good for a targeted amount of people? And then how do I make it attractive to mass market? I'll use Dove for an example. Dove is a soap bar with moisturizer. Guess what? Every soap humans use have moisturizer. Nothing special about the moisturizer. But we focused on what the benefit was, to protect your skin. And we were the only soap who said to protect your skin. Why? To make you feel good in the skin you're in. That's not a message that's good for everyone. Most men look in the mirror and think they look great. Right? That's not going to attract them. We went after women who had babies within the last 5 years. Why? Because when they look in the mirror, they don't feel as good as they used to. So we had a target market. That was our first nucleus of people. That's why when you see the ad that we created, it talked to moms. It says, speak to your daughter before the industry does. Because that's going to be super relevant to her. If you think of a snowball and you want to run down the mountain and get bigger, you need to create your snowball. And then when we started to fight against the fashion industry to stop manipulating the way women look, that's something even men think is a good idea. But it wouldn't be believable unless we did the rest. The social part is extremely important, and I think that's where most brands miss the point. They don't build the momentum to create a real social thing, and it winds up seeming fake. Right? Or they simply do it just to make a profit. You have to think of the win-win. How do we make consumers win, and how do we win by doing good? Okay? It answers the questions of why. Why should we buy it? Why should I love it? And why should others love it? We call this purpose, objective, and vision. POV for short, or point of view to make it easy to remember. A lot of people don't know Lady Gaga's story, okay? But for years, she tried to become an artist, focused on her voice and the way she sang. She was signed to a couple of different record labels. She played at Lollapalooza, which is the third biggest festival in all of the U.S. She never got picked up, never did well. She even did a tour that she financed herself, didn't do well either. And then what did she start to do? She started to dress weird. We talked more about the way she dressed than the way she sang, right? But she did it for a purpose. She said, I'm dressing weird because all you people who feel awkward in society, come out. I'm weirder than you. That's really targeted to people, especially people who felt awkward and people who were gay that didn't feel comfortable in society yet. And if you look at her first audience, that's who's diehard Lady Gaga. But then she continued. She said, the world is beautiful because it's filled with unique people. And if you're unique, you're also a little bit of a monster. And I'm another monster. That attracts everyone else. Everyone else wants to be unique. Everyone else wants to feel that way. She attracted a much bigger audience then. It works for people and brands. Nike. Nike in 1988, and to me, Nike's the biggest success story there is. Nike in 1988 was third in market share. Okay, Reebok was number one. I don't know if you guys remember movies from the 80s, but the women would wear the Reebok sneakers to work and then take them off and put on the high heels and then go to work. Fashion was the thing for sneakers, and that's why Reebok was number one. The new CMO came in and said, we're not going to focus on fashion. We're not going to follow trends. We're not going to follow what consumers say. We were made to build a faster running sneaker back in the 70s or 60s when they started. So we're here to inspire athletes. And if you have a body, you can be an athlete. That was their emotional benefit. But then they went further, and this is part of the story a lot of people don't know. They said, if you look almost anywhere in the world in the late 80s, the tradition was you sat down, had dinner with your parents, you moved to the sofa, and then you watched the sitcom. The world was starting to get fat. Obesity started becoming an issue, which it wasn't before. And like he said, we want to get people off the sofa, stop watching sitcom, and get them up and just do it, because that's what's causing obesity. If you saw people running in the late 88 and in the late 80s, running in the street at night, what would you do? You look behind them and see if he was being chased by a robber. Because it didn't exist. People didn't run in the street unless you were a professional athlete. Today, it's weird if you don't see someone running. The only way people aren't running is if Portugal's playing England or something like that. And then everyone's in their home. Starbucks. Starbucks was just a little brand. And to me, this is the most competitive industry. Think about how many cafe brands there are in this town alone. Multiply that by every town around the world. There are no more brands than coffee shops. Right? It's the most competitive industry there is. None of them think globally, they think locally. There's no more brands than this. And this was just a small local coffee shop. Until the owner went to Italy and he noticed something. He said, you know what? People aren't here because of the coffee. People are here to talk to one another. Late at night, all the old men join up and start talking to one another about either complaining about their wife or complaining about work or discussing football or politics or whatever it was. So he said, we're not about the coffee, we're the second living room. We're in your second living room. Take out all the furniture, bring in the big couches, be the first place to ever offer free water, and first place to offer free Wi-Fi. Why? Because they want to build community. The reason they ask for your name on the cup and scream it out there, the rest of the people in that place, is so it's a lot easier to approach you if I know your name. Okay? And in the States, it wasn't easy to remember. A lot of people didn't know each other's name. Why did they do this? What was the social benefit? To create a world of belonging, which in the States wasn't like that. In the States was every man for himself. Okay? There's one really important factor, and it's the last one. It's the vision, it's the social. The reason why people here go to Starbucks as much as they do is because the majority of our decisions are made by following other people that we trust. When you drive home from work and you don't remember driving home, which I'm sure has happened to almost all of you, right? You're like, I don't even remember driving. It's because you got behind the car, you trust he doesn't want to hit anyone, so you never really turn on your brain. You let him make the decisions. We don't consume enough calories or have enough time in the day to make every decision ourselves. We don't. I've already seen a couple people with white sneakers here. The world didn't all of a sudden start, everyone at the same time started liking white sneakers. Right? It was because a trend started. A small nucleus of people liked it. People trusted they knew about fashion, and all of us bought it. And all of us go to the store thinking, I love white sneakers. No, we let someone else make the decision because we don't have enough time to go researching every sneaker that's ever been made. I have more important things to do, so let me follow someone who knows about fashion. The other part about vision, it also transmits who we are. You use it in manifestos. That pink hat shows they belong to a tribe, shows they believe something. The cross, it's a logo that shows we believe something, we belong to a tribe. Apple, it's the same thing. Harley Davidson, it's the same thing. Even the shoes with the red soles, a Christian Louboutin, you want to belong to a certain tribe, a certain type of people that you want everyone to know. When the speaker said about it's important that everyone knows about it, he's right, because it has social value if everyone knows about it. And you want to use it to represent who you are before you even open your mouth. I'm going to show you something. After you start to actually realize how people buy and the benefits, I'm going to show you an ad.
It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. I'm not one of those who can easily hide. I don't have much money, but if I did, I'd buy a big house here. You both could live. If I was a sculptor, but then again, no, or a man who makes potions in a traveling shoe. I know it's not much, but it's the best I can do. My gift is my song, and this one's for you. And you can tell everybody this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down the words. How wonderful life is while you're in the world.
John Lewis speaks some of the best ads for Christmas for the past few years. Okay? And this is a beautiful piece of work. It's almost a movie within 2 minutes. Okay? But when this announcement came out, and I'm one of the biggest fans of what they've done in the past, I wrote on my LinkedIn that, unfortunately, even though I love this brand, this isn't going to work. Okay? I was called short-sighted by the chief strategist at IBM. Another strategist from one of the big networks called me an idiot, that I don't know what marketing is. And many other people said they love the ad. I'm sure a lot of you guys love the ad. It's a beautiful piece. But when you start using the framework and you say, okay, is this an emotional benefit, a functional benefit, or a social benefit? This doesn't make me love the brand more. They weren't trying to make me love the brand, so it's not an emotional benefit. It doesn't show me a better world, a vision of a better society, so it's not a social benefit. So this is a functional benefit campaign. So when I look simply at the message of what the functional benefit was, to me, I interpreted it as, and you guys can show me your hands if you agree with me, it showed me as, you can buy a gift for a child that will change his life. How many agree that's the interpretation that we get from that video? Okay. How many of you, when you go Christmas shopping, say, let me go buy a gift that's going to change his life? Raise your hand. 3, 4 people. So when I said, this isn't going to work, because it doesn't hit a functional benefit, right? It doesn't hit what most people go when they go shopping for Christmas presents are thinking. Right? There's 2 famous ads here in Portugal. I'm sure you guys know them. The Sou alface do Lidl. I'm a lettuce from Lidl. You guys know that? What's the message that I get from that? The lettuce only lasts 1 day, so live your life like it's the last day. Alright? Awesome ad, because some people do go shopping for fresh produce every day. And that tells me that they have really fresh produce because that lettuce is going to be dead tomorrow. Right? Works really well. Have another ad, that it's 2 women fighting over bread. Who's the one who found the bread at Lidl? Right? How many of you leave your house to go shopping thinking, I need to find a new product today? None of you. Right? One works really well, and I can guarantee you it works really well, the other one's going to be a miss. Because we need to focus on what are people looking for, what are the needs that I'm fulfilling, before we even get into the creative. The ad we did for Dove was awarded because we really hit a point that people were feeling. Right? Women were being manipulated in fashion magazines, and that was influencing children in the way they should feel. So we came out as the heroes of that. Here's the sales for John Lewis. It was the worst year in 3 years, in the past 3 years, okay, for Christmas. To the point where after Christmas they launched the biggest sale they've ever had in the last 3 years, which turned around the sales. Okay. None of you buy taglines. None of you buy brand values. None of you buy mission statements. None of you buy the commercial. The only thing you want when you follow brands or you want a product is that it fulfills a need or a want you have. You can do that by the product itself. You can do that emotionally through the brand, or you can create a vision of a better world if you actually do the work. Some brands actually do the work and don't just donate money. And those brands you like, those are the brands we follow and we really want. Greatness is a scary thing until one day it isn't. It's really hard to break away from what's been done in the past. It's really hard to defend a different point of view. But it's worth it, because one day it's not scary anymore. So I encourage you to find your point of view, find the benefits, think like an actual consumer, and fulfill the needs and wants that consumers want. That's the only way this is going to go forward. As technology gets stronger, this isn't going to change. As people have more blockers, this isn't going to change. People are always going to want to fulfill the needs that they have, and you can do that through different types of benefits. Thank you. Thank you, guys.